This morning, the sky began to brighten, with a tinge of sunlight slowly seeping through the trees surrounding the rice fields. The sound of trickling water flowing in small canals sounded melodious, blending with the gentle morning breeze. In the midst of this tranquility, I walked slowly into the rice fields that had been harvested, where I resumed my search for snails, which has become a routine every season after the harvest. The rice fields that were previously filled with towering rice plants have now turned into stretches of wet soil and the remains of straw stalks scattered everywhere. Even though they have been harvested, the remaining straw stalks are still firmly embedded in the ground, providing shelter for various creatures that take shelter beneath them. One of them is snails. These snails like to hide among the straw stalks that are still firmly stuck in the ground, looking for a comfortable and safe place from predators. With every step I take, I have to be careful, making sure not to step on one of them that might be hiding. The quiet morning atmosphere, accompanied only by the sounds of nature, provides its own serenity. However, behind this serenity, there is a little curiosity that creeps into my heart. Will I find enough snails today? Carefully, I began to move the still intact straw stalks. Slowly, I felt the damp earth beneath my feet, each touch bringing me closer to what I was looking for. These snails usually hide in more protected places, among piles of straw that have not yet fully dried or in the shaded parts of the rice fields. Every time I find a snail, I can't help but be amazed. Their round bodies with shiny shells reflect the morning sunlight. These snails are not in a hurry, they move slowly, as if enjoying the peace of their own world. This moment, although simple, feels so alive. Amidst the noise of the world, there is a serenity to be found in every step on the harvested rice fields. There is something calming about seeing these tiny lives hiding behind the still sturdy straw stalks. The snails seem to be silent witnesses of a rural life that is not widely known by others. They hide in places that are not seen by most people, but this is where they find their home. So too, for me, even if only for a moment, I feel like I am part of this nature, following the unhurried rhythm of life, enjoying every moment given. However, this time was different. Although the rice fields had been harvested, the search for snails, which usually took a long time and extra patience, felt easier this time. I had no trouble finding the snails I was looking for. The snails seemed to understand that I was looking for them, and without much effort, they began to appear among the piles of straw stalks spread out on the ground. As I continued to walk slowly across the empty rice field, I noticed every little movement around me. Although the ground was wet, the water in the rice field was crystal clear. So clear, almost like glass, reflecting every ray of sunlight that penetrated the leaves of the surrounding trees. I could clearly see every step I took that left a mark on the muddy ground, and even my own shadow reflected on the surface of the water. The calm water provided excellent visibility, allowing me to see every snail hidden behind a straw stalk or crawling slowly across the wet ground. Usually, I have to search carefully, moving every straw stalk that is sometimes hard to see or too deeply embedded in the soil, but this time I felt like everything was easier. The snails seemed to emerge one by one, none of them hiding too deep, and everything was more visible than usual. The snails I found this time also looked bigger and healthier, as if enjoying the freshness of the abundant water around them. I could even see their shiny shells, sparkling like little gems on the clear water surface. Every time I found one, I stopped for a moment to examine it, admiring its round and smooth shape. Maybe this was the first time I felt so close to the surrounding nature, feeling how alive this world was in every corner, in every slow movement that existed. As I continued to walk, I felt as if I was sinking deeper into the peace that surrounded me. The sounds of nature that were usually drowned out by the hustle and bustle of everyday activities were now heard so clearly. The sound of the wind rustling through the trees, the sound of leaves rustling, and of course, the sound of water flowing softly in the rice field irrigation channels. All of that seemed to form a calming natural symphony, providing coolness amidst the heat of the morning sun. This clear water not only made my search easier, but also gave me a sense of calm. I could clearly see the reflection of the blue sky on the water, and it made every step I took feel lighter. The snails I found also seemed more alive, moving slowly on the calm surface of the water, as if enjoying the bright morning. There was no anxiety, only calmness emanating from every corner of this vast rice field. Time went by so quickly, and I almost forgot that this was a simple search, with no great goal other than enjoying the peace that existed. These snails, although only small creatures, were part of a larger nature, part of an ecosystem that was invisible to many people. However, I felt like I was part of their world, as if they and I were sharing space in an unspoken peace. Until finally, I stopped at one point, looking around me. This vast rice field, with such clear water, gave me a peace that was difficult to describe in words. I felt so small in the presence of nature, but in that stillness, I found something greater, a sense of gratitude and appreciation for a simple yet meaningful life. Without needing words, I knew that this quest had brought me closer to nature, and to myself.